What's up, guys? Max here, and we just finished making a video when it comes to the season 10 information. That video covered all the details, so we're not going to be covering it here. But one of the things I want to talk about, okay, is this seeding and matchmaking. We have I talked about it on the stream. We have a bit of a problem when it comes to people farming points, people camping in Battlegrounds. Okay. And I know you might be a player that does this, and I do this because I literally, you saw me camp. I had a freaking tent. I camped so long that I had a little pot for food. I had a nice setup going on in season 9. And what that means basically is you camp your score. Once you're, we don't see the placements here, but once you're in the gladiator circuit and you make a push, you basically have no incentive to play on the final weeks. So whether, even though these metas are cut into 2 weeks each, week 1 and 2 into one meta, week 3 and 4 into another. If you're a sweat and you're very good at the game and have a very good understanding and you push really high, your points are really high, and within the week 3, maybe start of week 4, you basically can say, I can stop playing and secure my spot in the gladiator circuit somewhere high up there, right? And that's what we call camping. Basically, you camp your spot, you camp your score. And we talked about that being a probably big concern that has not made too much of a big deal because not that many people are fussing or complaining about it, but it is going to start to become a problem. It is a strategy that a lot of players use. It's a strategy that I used last season. Didn't play for the final 5 days, but we came out with on stream a incentive, okay, for that to be kind of not necessarily removed because you can still camp if you want to, but an incentive for it to be easier for you if you decide to camp to get removed automatically from your spot. So the idea is if I camp at 700 points, I have 700 points, I'm in the gladiator circuit, I'm in celestial 4, 5, and I'm camping there with 700 points, not playing, so no one can take my points, and I cannot give points away to somebody else. Everybody else can fight around me and up and down with their points, but I'm staying at 700. We've noticed that in the victory track season 10, Kabam added 2 tracks, track Diamond 4, Diamond 3 and 2. And with that gave some trophy tokens. Gave enough trophy tokens that I found this to be a very good idea. At first I was like, okay, maybe as I was thinking about this and we were discussing this on the live stream, I was thinking maybe adding 5,500 trophy tokens, it's too much. But in reality, I noticed that they gave that much just in 2 tracks. So I don't think there's a problem in adding that much of trophy tokens on the final week. So starting week 3 is where it gets really competitive. It gets really interesting. Going into week 4, even more. So going into week 4 is where I would suggest Kabam to start. Every single day they give an incentive, or every 3 days, I believe. Oh man, we just talked about this on the stream, and I believe it was 1,600 tokens that players get for playing Battlegrounds every 3 days or every 2 days. I think it's every 2 days. Every 2 days, players get 1,600 tokens to play Battlegrounds. On the final week, I would suggest Kabam to give every single player the ability to get up to 5,500 tokens, but requiring them to play at least 10 to 15 matches to earn those 5,500 tokens. That means that player that's camping at 700 points will have to come out of their tent, break down their camp, and play to get those incentives of tokens of 5,500 tokens to play. And if they decide not to play, which is fair, they can choose, hey, I don't want those tokens. I rather place, I'm in Celestial 4 and I rather stay there. Well, if the other players are incentivized enough with 5,500 tokens every 2 days, that means that if they end up playing, those amount of matches, 15 matches, that means that they're going to get more tokens by just grinding and just playing Battlegrounds, which is the whole point of the game, is not to camp. But because these little loopholes or these little strategies are coming out, we're seeing players do that. So if the players outside the player that's camping are grinding it out, meaning getting more points, climbing higher, naturally the person that's camping, their score is going to keep dropping and dropping and dropping, and naturally they're going to get bumped out of the bracket they thought they were camping in. If that makes sense. If you're following me, hopefully you are when it comes to this. If you, of course, know about the point system and how it is in the Gladiator circuit, you probably understand where I'm going with this message. I think it's a win-win for all. It gets players to play. Kabam loves them logging in and playing Battlegrounds, more activity into the game. It gets players playing, being more competitive with each other, and it allows for people not to camp, which is also at the top, the matchmaking system. It's pretty lengthy. So because of the point system that people have, if you have 800 points and you're trying to match people right below you and they're not playing and they're only logging in, they're logging into the game, but they're logging in to play other things because they know they might sacrifice their points, then you're going to have more people incentivized to play in those top brackets. So you're going to have more matchmaking. Now, if you're skilled and you're playing a lot, then your points are going to keep getting higher and higher and higher. And that's just going to be a problem you're just going to have because you're going to have way too many points. Like the number one player trying to match at 9,000 points, maybe this season, trying to match players with less points at like 700, and the gap is so high. It's too many points of a difference. But I think that would resolve the camping slight problem, big problem, depending on how you view it. That's been happening in the prior seasons. I think it started around season, honestly, probably 2 or 3. People figure this out right away. And so we're in season 10. We haven't really talked about camping in season 10. Now, the other one that's a big one, and I left this one for last, is the farming. The farming of points has been a thing, and I think that started actually since we're seeing points increase. We first saw like 1 million points. I think it was like 700, 800,000 points was the highest we saw in the beginning of the seasons. Now we're seeing scores of like 3 million and higher. Just look at the difference. Look at the difference between 700,000 to 3 million. The top of points is 3 million now. That means that players are using more Elder Marks. Players are spending more units. Players are spending more cash in the Battlegrounds to confirm those solo ranks when it comes to ranks and giving points for the Alliance, for rank rewards for the Alliance. So that's a good thing for Kabam. That means cha-ching, more money for Kabam, right? Well, how do you do this? And how do you stay sane in doing these large amount of points? Well, you got to farm them, meaning you got to not push to the top immediately. You got to farm, whether it was, I think season 9, it was a big into Platinum 2 or Diamond 2. I forget which one it was. I didn't get to take advantage of that because it kind of like came out after. I think I was in the Gladiator circuit when like it really was confirmed that you could farm in that. Basically, it meant that your matchmaking was open to the entire community. You weren't just matchmaking players with your own same account type power. You were matchmaking with a ton of players. So people that just started playing Battlegrounds with small accounts, and let's say my account was huge. My account is huge, and coming in and just piling down on these players to collect points. On the other end of this, when I needed to drop down because of the points, you were giving out points for free. So it's a double edge to these players because depending on who they're matching, they might be getting free wins, or depending on who they're matching, they might automatically be losing. So we saw a lot of that happening, and we're going to see a lot of that happening even more this season, in season 10 and going into season 11 and 12, as long as Kabam keeps this alive. So matchmaking. So one of the things that it talked about here And they even say it in the matchmaking changes is what matchmaking has, why they're doing this. Now, the reason why they've opened the power index to like matchmaking is because they saw that smaller accounts with skilled players were just pushing through the victory track and also smashing on those smaller accounts. And the smaller accounts thought they were going to be fair play. Turns out it's not. Small accounts with skilled players were going easily riding up the victory track and not really having a competition or someone to play to give them a hard time. So now the bigger accounts with not that much skilled players, because there's both ways. There's big accounts with skilled players, big accounts with non-skilled players are now going to be matching those skilled players with small accounts. And now we're going to be really seeing, okay, the battle of the skill between two. Either you have a big account or a small account, we're going to be seeing those two players really go at it. So here is some of the changes. It says the changes we've made to this point have already seen some great results. Inevitably, we will lead to some uneven matches where massive accounts punch down against newer folks. It's unfortunate, but this change will allow those accounts to climb faster than others, allowing them to progress out of the lower level matchmaking pool sooner. So that's the idea that Kabam, and those are the intentions that Kabam has. But in reality, because farming is a thing, it's not going to happen soon. What's going to happen is they're going to see players stick around this Platinum 1 to Diamond 1 bracket. Maybe into the new Vibranium 3 since it's being added, and 2, we don't know what those look like. But since a lot of players are going to be farming in these brackets, meaning you're going to see basically big accounts smashing on small accounts and just cycling that back and forth to get as many points as possible. So again, to be honest, I don't know if this is going to be ever a fix as opposed to the camping. I think the camping came up with a nice solution, a nice fix overall for just Kabam to introduce and for the communities, just overall better experience, just more fun into the game. But when it comes to farming, this one's tough because really we have a problem at the bottom when it comes to like if Kabam tightens up the power, how you matchmaking works, then we still have a problem with those smaller skilled players just pushing through the top and never matching somebody. And then if we don't open it up, then now we have more of a farming problem where big accounts are smashing onto the smaller accounts to collect points. So I don't know what the solution to this one is, because ideally, I know it's not always about money, but Kabam is involved in this to make $1, right? Every day they have the game running, every day there's an offer, every day there's something. There ideally is some revenue coming in. So when it comes to farming, there is a lot of money coming into Kabam. A lot of players are jumping into this farming system, getting points. A lot of players at the top are doing this. So whether you farm in the victory track, whether you farm in the gladiator circuit, it's just farming is going to be everywhere. You can do this everywhere. So it's just going to be a lot easier to do in the victory track at the beginning of the season. So let me know your thoughts, guys. What do you think is a good solution to farming, since I couldn't come up with one? What do you think of my solution and the solution we came up on stream when it comes to camping? I think camping is a really good one. But yeah, I think farming is going to be a lot easier with the matchmaking changes that they introduced to season 10. I think we're going to see. Here's the upside of this, though. On the other end, just to finish it off here, is if you're farming in season 10 and you've met your goal, whether it's 1 million points, or higher, then you're going to be like, okay, I met it. I'm out. I'm done. So you might get that quicker, and you might just stop farming and just jump right into the gladiator circuit and just play. That might be an option. That might be a thing that actually happens. So I don't know what the results of this how it's gonna ultimately play out until this goes live and we start seeing what season 10 and 11 looks like, especially with the seeding in season 11, as that's going to change a lot of the stuff. So season 11, I think it's going to be even tougher to farm because everybody's going to get seeded. Just keep that in mind in Platinum 1, but I think it's still going to be doable, as you're going to want to farm probably not on day 1 or 2 or 3, but on day 5 to 14 is when you're going to want to farm your points. Just make sure you don't get into the gladiator circuit. So like I said, farming is going to be a thing, and I don't know if that's going to be, there's really any solution to that. Yeah, but like I said, let me know, guys. What are your thoughts in the comments below? Don't forget to smash that like button. I appreciate it. And also subscribe if you have not yet done so. Take care, guys. Let me know what you think of these two little problems, situations, concerns you might be having as players in Season 10 of Battlegrounds and Season 11. Take care. See you in the next video. Peace.